Before the world could write history, China had already invented the pages. Let's rewind. Han Dynasty, Imperial China, about 2,000 years ago. If you wanted to write something down, it was a nightmare. You had two options: bamboo slips, thick, heavy, and tied together like a floppy xylophone, or silk, soft, smooth, and stupidly expensive. Like writing your grocery list on a Gucci scarf. Neither was practical. A simple government report could weigh more than a sack of rice. And books? Forget it. Nobody was reading for fun. But the empire was growing. More officials, more records, more Confucian scholars quoting Confucius. China needed a better way to write it all down. Enter Cai Lun. Now, Cai Lun wasn't born into power. He wasn't royalty. He was a eunuch, part of the imperial court, but always one step away from being disposable. But he was clever, sharp, and just ambitious enough to risk everything for an idea. The problem was clear. China had information, but no decent way to store or spread it. Knowledge was trapped in scrolls that could rot, break, or bankrupt you. Cai Lun thought, what if you could write on something thin, cheap, and light? So in 105 CE, he got to work. And this wasn't a 5-minute experiment. This was ancient science mode activated. He gathered scraps no one wanted: tree bark, hemp waste, old rags, even fishnets. He shredded it all down, mixed it with water, pulped it into mush, pressed it flat, dried it, and just like that, the first true paper was born. It wasn't perfect. It smelled weird, and early sheets looked more like tortilla wraps than office supplies. But it worked. It held ink. It was flexible, light, and cheap. Cai Lun presented it to the emperor. The court was stunned. One minister literally called it the most useful invention since fire. Cai Lun was promoted, rewarded, celebrated. But his invention? That was just getting started. Because paper didn't stay in the palace. It spread fast, across ministries, schools, military outposts, anywhere people needed to read, write, or issue orders. Within a few decades, the Han bureaucracy transformed. Officers weren't hauling bamboo wagons around. They had scrolls that fit in one hand. Paper changed the tempo of empire. It let orders travel faster. It let teachers copy texts for students. It let officials rewrite laws without a 5-year delay. And eventually, it changed the world. It didn't just make books lighter. It made spying easier. Officials in the Han Dynasty started using paper not just for records, but for secret communication. They could now send long, coded messages quickly, hidden in sleeves, shoes, or scrolls that looked boring on the outside. Unlike bulky bamboo or silk, paper could be folded, burned, or eaten if needed. Yes, some spies actually ate the evidence. Even military strategies were written on throwaway scraps and disguised as poetry or market receipts. One general reportedly smuggled secret orders inside a fake tax document, sealed with rice paste and stamped with a forged seal. Suddenly, paper wasn't just a writing tool. It was an espionage upgrade, cheap, sneaky, and perfect for a growing empire that ran on both bureaucracy and secrets. South Cai Lun invents paper. The Han court loves it. China starts mass producing it. Then what? Here's what. Paper spreads like wildfire. It goes viral. No social media, no ad campaign, just trade routes and empires doing empire things. Like what you're hearing? Hit that subscribe button. We've got more inventions that change the world coming. First stop, Korea and Japan. Buddhist monks took the invention and ran with it, literally. They used it to copy sutras, draw holy texts, and build entire paper scroll libraries. Some temples held thousands of scrolls, all hand-copied, all sacred. They believed copying a single scroll was an act of devotion. Next, the Islamic world. In 751 CE, Chinese soldiers clashed with Arab forces at the Battle of Talas. China lost the fight, but paper won the war. Captured Chinese papermakers spilled the secrets. Suddenly, places like Baghdad, Damascus, and Cairo were setting up paper mills. Arabic scholars, poets, and scientists jumped on it like kids with a new toy, and used it to preserve everything from algebra to medical books. Yes, the invention of paper helped keep Greek philosophy alive, because someone had to write it down. Europe, always late to the party. While monks in France were still skinning sheep to make parchment, China had already printed books on paper, 500 years earlier. A single sheet of parchment took hours to prepare. Paper could be made in batches, faster, cleaner, easier. When paper finally reached Europe around the 11th century, it exploded. First in Italy and Spain, then in Germany, where a guy named Gutenberg was like, "Wait, I can print on this?" Boom. Printing press, mass literacy, the Renaissance, the Reformation, all made possible by a 1,000-year-old Chinese invention. But here's the kicker. China never stopped innovating. Long before Gutenberg, China had already invented woodblock printing, and even full-on paper money. Yes, paper money. Centuries before Europeans even dreamed of printing banknotes, Tang Dynasty China was issuing lightweight bills for merchants. At first, it was used privately by wholesalers to avoid carrying bags of coins. Then the government got involved. They issued official notes, backed by the state, with serial numbers, expiry dates, even anti-counterfeit measures. It was the world's first legal tender made from tree pulp, a revolution in economics, all thanks to Cai Lun's groundwork. Paper became the lifeblood of Chinese civilization. It documented dynasties, preserved Confucian teachings, circulated poems, taxes, military strategies, shopping lists, you name it. But it wasn't just practical. Paper unlocked culture. You want Tang Dynasty poetry? You get Li Bai drunk on wine, scribbling moonlit verses. You want Song Dynasty art? You get landscapes so delicate they look like dreams, all on scrolls thinner than your fingernail. You want philosophy, science, satire, prayers? You got them, in ink and paper, copied 1,000 times over. And let's not forget, paper invented school as we know it. Before paper, only rich kids got to study, aka memorize Confucius on silk scrolls while someone fanned them. But once paper got cheap, suddenly everyone could copy texts, practice calligraphy, and, lucky them, make mistakes without bankrupting the family. China even had standardized exams before most places had desks. Paper made education scalable. Teachers loved it. Kids, less so. Because now they had homework. So next time you're stuck doing worksheets, blame Cai Lun. The guy didn't just invent paper. He accidentally invented final exams too. And while the rest of the world was still chiseling things into stone, China had already turned writing into a soft power superweapon. So what happened to Cai Lun? Well, mixed ending. He climbed the ranks, lived rich, lived powerful. But palace life is brutal. And political wins, they shift fast. After a power shuffle in the court, Cai Lun fell out of favor. Some sources say he was accused of misusing influence. Others say he just backed the wrong political faction. Either way, the result was the same. He was ordered to end his own life. A tragic end for the man who made knowledge weightless. But his legacy, untouchable. Paper outlived every emperor who used it, every dynasty that tried to censor it, every ocean it crossed. And today, it's everywhere. Books, birth certificates, love letters, divorce papers, office memos, napkin doodles, history exams, manga comics. Even the device you're watching this on? Probably shipped with paper instructions you never read. All thanks to a guy who looked at bark and fishnets and said, "Yeah, I can work with that." If you made it this far, drop a comment and tell us what shocked you the most, and hit like. Let's play a game. Spot the AI fails in this video. Bet you missed a few.